Hi, everybody. We're back to recommend more titles and suggestions for books that you can read for free from the Carmel Clay Public Library. I'm Catherine, and I'm joined today by Carly, Kendall, and Susan. Today, we're going to be sharing some diverse romance picks for all of you romance readers out there. Susan, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
There's no romance like a royal romance, and Alyssa Cole's A Prince on Paper is no exception. This book is the third in a series called The Reluctant Royals, all of which are available on ebook, on Libby Overdrive, book from the library, or there's also ebooks and audiobooks from Hoopla. In this story, we follow Naya back to her native Thessalo after an internship in New York City. She'd hoped her time in New York City would be really exciting, romantic, but the only romance she's been having is her virtual dating game. Not so great. Naya's on her way back to Thessalo for her best friend's wedding. She finds herself stuck with the best man, Johann von Brosten, the step prince of Lichtenberg, international playboy and royal pain in Naya's side. But maybe Naya has been wrong about how wild and self-centered Johann is. And maybe she begins to warm to him. When a royal referendum threatens Johann's little brother's future, Naya agrees to deflect attention by having a fake engagement to Johann. But is it fake? Well, you're just gonna have to read the book. This is a fun, fast-paced story with diverse characters and lots of likable characters, which is even better. Check out A Prince on Paper and the rest of the Reluctant Royals series this summer. To you, Carly.
Thanks. So the book I'd like to talk about today is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Chloe Brown is on a mission. As a female Black tech genius living with chronic illness, her family has always been overprotective of her. But she's determined to make a life for herself, and it's time. She's gonna move out, get her own apartment, and make a bucket list of all the adventures she's always wanted to do, and some that she just thinks she probably should try. So she has no idea how to go about doing these adventures, especially when it comes to riding a motorcycle. But that's where Red, the apartment building's handyman, comes in. Red has issues of his own. He's only taken the handyman job after giving up his career as an artist and dealing with the aftermath of an abusive relationship himself. Chloe sees Red as someone who can help her cross things off her bucket list. But can Red get past his trauma to see Chloe as a whole person instead of a spoiled, wealthy brat? Find out in this cute and very steamy romance set in a London apartment building. It has everything from a rescued cat in a tree to a heartthrob with a heart of gold to Chloe, the hero we've all been waiting for. I think you'll really enjoy this read. It's a great summer read. It's really fun and light with a little bit of heat, and it is available on Hoopla as an ebook and an audiobook, as well as Libby and in print. What are you reading, Kendall?
Thanks, Carly. I also read a royal book. It's called Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. So in this book, Alex Claremont Diaz is an American version of a royal. His mother is the president and his father is a Latino senator. As the charismatic and handsome and millennial marketing for the White House, Alex attends a royal wedding across the pond where he proceeds to cause a catastrophic confrontation with his longtime nemesis, Prince Henry, which ends up strewn all over the tabloids and threatens American-British relations. So the damage control plan is to stage a fake friendship between Alex and Henry to convince everyone that all is well. What starts as an annoying and purely Instagrammable ploy between Alex and his uptight royal rival soon becomes a real connection when he discovers that the two of them have more in common than he first thought, and that there is a gentle-hearted and witty eccentric beneath the stiff Prince Charming facade. Suddenly, Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret relationship with the prince that could thwart his mother's campaign and sever the good graces between their two nations. Is this relationship worth the risk and sacrifice? Where do we find the courage to be who we are? And how will history remember us? Red, White, and Royal Blue is a heartwarming story about a young man discovering his bisexuality and making some life-altering decisions about what is most important to him. Fair warning, the story gets pretty romantically spicy in multiple occasions, and there is adult language throughout. Author Casey McQuiston is openly bisexual and has referred to herself as queer, using both she and they pronouns. Readers of Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, Public Relations by Katie Heaney, and The Royal We by Heather Cox might also enjoy this book. It's available in print, Hoopla audiobook, and both ebook and audiobook on Libby.
Thank you so much. You know, I have to admit that I am not the biggest romance reader. So this was a really tough week for me, and I really went outside of my comfort zone and I found a book that I fell in love with. I am going to recommend Ayesha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. This was her debut novel, and I was so impressed with this as a debut as well. I'm a huge fan of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, as I know Susan is as well. And this is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice set in a tight-knit Muslim community in Toronto. Ayesha has big dreams of being a spoken word poet. And she has to set them aside to work as a substitute teacher to pay off a debt to her well-off uncle. She lives with her boisterous family, and they're very reminiscent of the Bennet family from Pride and Prejudice. She's always being reminded that her younger cousin is about to reject her 100th marriage proposal. It's a bit of a downer. Ayesha does not want an arranged marriage. But then she meets Khalid, and he is our modern-day Mr. Darcy. But there is a surprise engagement between guess who? Khalid and Ayesha's cousin. So this is number 100. When their engagement is announced, she's really torn about her feelings for Khalid amongst some new gossip she's hearing about his family. I urge you to read this one. This is currently available from the library in print as well as an ebook in our digital collection. Whether you are a seasoned diverse romance reader or you are just putting a toe in the diverse romance pool, there are actually some lists on diverse romance in the library's catalog that you can search for that would include additional titles if these sound of interest to you. Thank you so much for joining us this week to discuss diverse romance picks. We hope you'll join us again next week. Thank you so much.